strong top line is comprised of a good musculature that's strong enough to be able to support the rider and carry the horse forward using its hind end. So when I'm looking at a horse's top line, I'm looking at how their neck ties into their shoulder, through the wither and under the saddle area, across their loin and over their rump towards their tail, and the musculature that's present or not present in those areas. So there's a number of reasons why your horse might have a poor top line if they do not have good musculature in those areas. It could be a saddle fit issue. There may be resistance under saddle in the training that you're doing. It may be age. Some older horses lose their top line. Horses with PPID, that's a condition that can actually cause a horse to lose its top line, especially if it's uncontrolled as they age. Or it may actually be a nutritional issue. So assuming that your horse does not have a saddle fit issue, is being worked correctly under saddle and on the ground, if he still has an underdeveloped top line, it may be a nutritional issue. And the biggest thing I look as a nutritionist when I see a horse in that situation is A, is it getting enough calories to actually have overall good body condition? And B, if it is, what's the protein content of that diet? Perhaps more importantly, what's the protein quality of that diet? Because without good quality protein in the diet, the horse may be unable to develop the musculature in the top line. Proteins are made up of various combinations of different amino acids. And there are two sort of main classes of amino acids. You have essential amino acids, essential nutrients and nutrients that the horse cannot make and must be in the diet. So essential amino acids must be present in the feeds you're feeding your horse. Non-essential amino acids, your horse is actually able to make non-essential amino acids. When we rank proteins and determine which is a better quality than another, it kind of comes down to what proportion of that protein is made up of essential amino acids. A protein that provides a greater proportion of essential amino acids to your horse is said to be a better quality protein than one that provides a lower proportion of essential amino acids. For example, soy has a better quality protein profile than most of the hays that we feed. And that's why when you look at commercial feeds, you'll often see soybean meal as an ingredient because we're using soybean meal to improve the overall protein quality of that commercial feed. So if I have a horse that's able to maintain his body condition on hay alone, I'm going to be looking to try and improve the protein quality of that ration initially through forage choice. So it might be if that horse is getting a grass hay-based diet that we add a little alfalfa if that is an okay thing to do for that horse. Not all horses do well with alfalfa in the diet, and I typically don't feed more than about 25 to 30% of the forage as alfalfa. But alfalfa is a high percent protein, crude protein hay, and compared to grass hays has a better quality protein profile, and so that can sometimes kind of do the trick, get a little bit more lysine in the diet, which is one of the essential amino acids, and that can be enough to help give that horse what it needs to develop that top line. If I need an even more kind of concentrated source of quality protein, I'm going to be looking for a soybean-based ration balancer. They provide that source of high quality plant-based protein, and they also tend to be highly fortified with micronutrients such as trace minerals, vitamin E, that the forage-based fed horses also need. If I have a horse that needs additional calories, it can't maintain its weight on a forage-based diet and a ration balancer, and therefore I need additional calories as well, now I'm going to be looking at some sort of performance-based feed. When those performance feeds are fed correctly, they will also provide a source of essential amino acids that should help develop that, give that horse what it needs to develop its top line. Good quality performance feeds are going to guarantee the amount of amino acids present, so you'll often see on the feed tag guaranteed amounts of lysine and methionine and sometimes threonine, and those are key essential amino acids for your horse. I am not a big fan of throwing individual amino acids into a ration, for example, going and buying lysine and just feeding additional lysine to your horse, because the amino acid profile of the diet needs to be balanced. However, using whey protein, which has a high percentage of branched chain amino acids, can be very beneficial for helping develop top line. There are some negative consequences of overfeeding proteins. Excess protein is broken down and the nitrogen ends up being excreted in urea and urine. This means that your horse has to drink more water in order to create more urine. It also means you have higher ammonia in your stalls, which is detrimental to respiratory health. So if your horse has an underdeveloped top line, you really need to be talking to your entire team. Approach your veterinarian and make sure there's nothing physical going on that's causing that top line to be underdeveloped. And certainly go ahead and try some simple dietary changes, for example, trying a different type of hay or slightly tweaking your feed. But if you find yourself being tempted to add individual amino acids to your diet and going that route, I would encourage you to reach out to an equine nutritionist to help you with that, because it's very important that your horse's diet is balanced.